Imagine you, on the most important day of your life, staring into the eyes of the person you love, while a financial time bomb silently explodes around you. Did you know that a single "I do" at the altar can cost more than your dream home's down payment? Or that 30% of couples who divorce point to money as the real villain? Stay with me, because today I'm going to reveal 10 shocking secrets about weddings that could save your finances or destroy everything if you ignore them. I met Sarah 2 years ago on a warm summer night in a group of friends chatting about weddings. She was 29, eyes sparkling, freshly engaged. Sarah dreamed of a perfect wedding, lace dress, imported flowers, a reception that would make Instagram go wild with envy. But as she described every detail, I saw something she didn't: the invisible weight of a debt about to swallow her life. Sarah's not a fictional character. She's real, and her story is a warning you need to hear, because what happened to her could happen to anyone. The first revelation is that modern weddings are financial traps disguised as fairy tales. Sarah booked a catering service that seemed affordable, $15,000 for 150 guests, but no one told her about the hidden fees. 10% service charges, rentals for tableware, cleanup fees, even a vague setup cost no one explains. In the end, the bill jumped to $21,000. And this isn't rare. A study by The Knot found that 60% of couples underestimate their wedding costs by at least 20%. Have you ever thought about it? That contract that looks perfect might be hiding a hole you'll only discover when the invoice hits. Sarah learned this the hard way, dipping into her credit card to cover the gap. And the worst part? That was just the beginning. But you know what's more dangerous than hidden fees? The pressure to spend what you don't have. Sarah wanted her wedding to be unforgettable. She spent hours scrolling through feeds, seeing tables decked with orchids, 5-tier cakes, twinkling lights that looked like stars. Every post whispered, "You need this to be happy." Here's the second revelation. The culture of the perfect wedding is a marketing machine that profits off your insecurity. Data shows 70% of couples inflate their budgets because of trends they see on social media. Sarah fell for it. She dropped $4,000 on flowers that wilted in 24 hours just because an influencer called it the trend. And when the party ended, she realized no one remembered the flowers. But the debt, that stuck around. How many times have you felt you had to impress others, even knowing the price was too steep? The third revelation is the most painful. As Sarah planned the wedding, she and her fiancé Michael started fighting. He wanted a simple gathering. She dreamed of an epic event. They'd never talked openly about money before, and now they were yelling about who'd pay for what. A Harvard study found that 30% of divorces stem from financial disagreements. Sarah and Michael were no exception. He felt pressured to spend beyond their budget. She felt judged for wanting the perfect day. What no one tells you is that weddings expose your rawest differences about money. Sarah learned Michael was hiding a $10,000 debt from years ago, and she'd never admitted she used her card to cover emotional spending. When you don't align your finances before the altar, happily ever after can turn into a financial nightmare. As financial planner Suze Orman once said, "Money isn't the problem, not talking about it is." Sarah and Michael never had that talk, and it nearly broke them. But it's not all doom and gloom. The fourth revelation is that you can have an amazing wedding without selling your financial soul. After months of stress, Sarah discovered minimalist weddings. Instead of dropping $8,000 on a fancy venue, she rented a friend's backyard for $1,500. Instead of a designer dress, she bought a gently used one for $1,000 and still felt like a queen. Surveys show couples who choose smaller celebrations save up to 40% and report higher satisfaction. Sarah learned to focus on what mattered, the vow she and Michael made to each other, not the guests' opinions. And you know what's great? No one missed the 5-tier cake. Want to know how to do this? Grab a notebook now. Pick 3 things that truly matter for your wedding. The rest, cut it without mercy. The 5th revelation is the scariest. Wedding debts don't vanish when the party's over. Sarah and Michael started married life with $25,000 in debt, catering, flowers, photographer. They dreamed of buying a home in 2 years, but credit card payments devoured that plan. A study by Experian found that couples take on average 3 years to pay off wedding debts, delaying goals like home ownership or retirement. Sarah told me, tears in her eyes, that she felt their dream wedding had stolen their future. What if I told you one wrong choice in planning could cost your financial freedom for a decade? That's real, and it's happening to thousands of couples right now. The 6th revelation is that your guest list is a silent budget killer. Sarah invited 150 people, thinking it was reasonable, but each guest added $100 to the catering bill, $20 for favors, $15 for extra chairs. Before she knew it, her modest guest list cost an extra $8,000. A Wedding Wire survey found that 45% of couples regret inviting guests just to please others. Sarah included distant cousins and old co-workers she barely saw, only to realize half didn't even RSVP. The real kicker: most guests won't remember the details, but you'll remember the debt. Want to save thousands? Trim your guest list to those who truly matter. Sarah wishes she'd invited 50 instead. Would you have the courage to say no to that extra +1? The 7th revelation is that wedding vendors know exactly how to upsell you. Sarah met with a photographer who offered a basic package for $2,000. But then came the pitch: drone footage, extra albums, a second shooter, all essentials that doubled the price. The wedding industry thrives on making you feel like you're cheaping out if you skip the extras. Data from Zola shows couples spend 30% more on vendors than planned due to upselling. Sarah ended up with a $4,500 photo package she barely looked at after the wedding. The lesson? Set a firm budget for each vendor and stick to it. Ask yourself, will I care about this in 5 years? Sarah didn't, and neither will you. The 8th revelation is that your honeymoon can be a debt trap in disguise. Sarah and Michael booked a week in Hawaii thinking it was their reward for surviving wedding planning. The trip cost $6,000, flights, hotel, activities, all on credit. A Bankrate study shows 25% of couples fund honeymoons with debt, and many regret it when the bills arrive. Sarah admitted the beach photos weren't worth the stress of extra payments. Instead, consider a local getaway or delaying the trip until you can pay in cash. A cozy cabin weekend can be just as romantic. Sarah learned that love doesn't need a plane ticket to feel special. Have you ever spent to prove something, only to regret it later? The 9th revelation is that wedding gifts aren't the cash cow you think. Sarah and Michael hoped their gift registry would offset costs. They got blenders, toasters, but only $2,000 in cash, far less than the $5,000 they expected. A survey by The Knot found that 60% of couples overestimate gift contributions, leaving them to cover gaps themselves. Sarah felt awkward chasing late gifts, and the ones they got didn't pay the caterer. If you're counting on gifts, don't. Plan your budget as if they won't come. It's harsh, but it saved Sarah from banking on a fantasy. Are you ready to plan without expecting a bailout? The 10th revelation is that your wedding's emotional cost can outlast the financial one. Sarah didn't just lose money, she lost sleep, confidence, and moments of joy with Michael. The stress of planning turned their engagement into a battleground. A study by Psychology Today found that 40% of couples report higher stress during wedding planning than any other time in their relationship. Sarah said she barely recognized herself, snapping at Michael over napkin colors. The real cost? The memories they could have made if they'd focused on love, not logistics. Ask yourself, is your dream wedding worth your peace? Sarah's answer was no. What's yours? Today, Sarah and Michael are rebuilding their finances. They made a pact. No more hiding numbers from each other. They created a joint budget, cut emotional spending, and are paying off the debt bit by bit. Their wedding wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in the end, that's worth more than any Instagram post. These 10 revelations, hidden fees, social pressures, couple conflicts, minimalist weddings, lasting debts, guest list traps, vendor upsells, honeymoon debts, unreliable gifts, and emotional tolls are what separate a dream wedding from a financial nightmare. Have you ever stopped to think, what's your wedding costing, not just in dollars, but in your peace of mind? If Sarah could overcome this, so can you, but only if you start now. So tell me in the comments, have you ever faced a financial trap in a wedding or know someone who has? Your story could help someone else, and if this video hit you hard, subscribe to the channel, because the next revelation might just change your financial life forever. If you felt a knot in your chest hearing Sarah's story, it's because this video was meant to reach you. Drop a comment, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next secrets no one tells you about money. See you soon.